Are you one of those people who suffer from electromagnetic hypersensitivity, fatigue, tiredness, stress, brain fog, aches, and pains? What if I told you that you can soak your way into serenity? Soak in Serenity, our new herbal bath formula, is known to soothe anxiety, relieve stress and fatigue in just one bath. Visit our store at blacksunrise.com/herbs-page. Remember to spell sunrise SONRISE. Black News Headlines. Today's featured articles are not found on Black Sunrise News. However, I thought that these articles would be worthy of a news report. This article was taken from thesun.co.uk, titled Tycoon's Lust. Prince Andrew's pal, Peter Nygard, pictured with scantily clad young women in a state where fashion boss is accused of rape. Pictures have emerged showing Prince Andrew's millionaire friend Peter Nygard surrounded by bikini-clad women at a Bahamas estate where he is accused of drugging and raping at least 10 teens. The Canadian fashion tycoon is seen smiling and appearing to grope the women as they dance in a private nightclub at his Nygard Cay property, where he previously hosted the disgraced prince and his family. Finnish-born Nygard is the founder of women's wear brand Nygard International, based in Winnipeg, Canada, and is the subject of numerous allegations of sexual assault and harassment. This month, 10 women filed a class action lawsuit accusing Nygard of using his Bahamas estate to operate a sex trafficking ring. The suit, filed in New York last Thursday, alleges that Nygard recruited, lured, and enticed young, impressionable, and often impoverished children and women with cash payments and false promises of lucrative modeling opportunities to assault, rape, and sodomize them. It further alleges that Nygard put rohypnol and other drugs in the women's drinks before carrying out the assaults. The rapes are alleged to have taken place between 2008 and 2015. 3 of the women were 14 and 3 were 15 when their alleged assaults occurred. The suit also claims that when Nygard became aware of the investigation into his sex trafficking ring, he resorted to tactics of violence, intimidation, bribery, and payoffs to attempt to silence the victims and to continue his scheme. Jay Prober, a lawyer representing Nygard, vigorously denied the allegations and branded them completely false and without foundation. Peter Nygard looks forward to fully exposing this scam and once and for all clearing his name. Nygard has in the past been pictured in the company of Prince Andrew, who in June 2000 was reported to have stayed at Nygard Cay with then-wife Sarah Ferguson and their 2 daughters. Andrew stepped down from his royal duties last year amid questions about his association with late pedophile tycoon Jeffrey Epstein. There is no suggestion that Andrew knew about alleged misconduct on Nygard's part at the time, but Nygard had at that point already been the suspect of harassment allegations. In the 90s, 3 former employees accused him of inappropriate behavior in the workplace. One, a 27-year-old travel coordinator, alleged she had repeatedly brushed off Mr. Nygard's touches and sexual advances, the Winnipeg Free Press reported. A 39-year-old communications manager said that when called into Nygard's office, she would find him in a state of undress, pants open, no shirt, or with his hands down the front of his pants fondling himself. She also claimed he once added naked swimming to the agenda of a business meeting, and that, while in the Bahamas, frequently was grabbing himself wearing a very small bathing suit. Okay, what's interesting about this article also is that this too takes place in the Caribbean. And in the Caribbean, on private islands in the Caribbean. And the article also goes into some of the children who were allegedly trafficked. And in this case, many of the young women came from surrounding islands in the Caribbean. And those of us in the Caribbean, we know there's an epidemic of missing children. And in particular, in Jamaica, there's the rise of womb stealing of young women, and women having their organs, young women having their organs taken. This report was taken from radaronline.com. And this article is titled, "I'm Done Being a Victim. Courtney Stodden claims Peter Nygard sexually abused her." This is February 21st, 2020. "He touched me in places that were extremely inappropriate. I'm done being a victim." Courtney Stodden slammed Canadian fashion mogul Peter Nygard after he was accused of rape and sexual assault by more than 100 women in a class action lawsuit, claiming he sexually assaulted her too. Mind control, sexual and verbal abuse. "I've been in the thick of all of it for 10 years. Stodden exclusively told RadarOnline.com. "I'm done being a victim." Stodden ripped into Nygard in an emotional Instagram post, sharing the shocking details of his alleged unwanted actions against her. "Thank God Peter Nygard has been outed," Stodden wrote. "He tried to lure me multiple times and touched me in places that were extremely inappropriate. The first inappropriate contact happened just hours after this photo was taken. I was so young and naive," she continued. The former teen bride offered her sympathies to many women coming forward. And I have a feeling thousands of women are going to come forward. "I'm sorry to the young women who have been assaulted as well. The reality show star who shot to fame when she married the Green Mile actor Doug Hutchinson when she was just 16 and he was 51 opened up about her alleged abuse. I'm tired of old men taking advantage of women like myself and the entire grab the beep mentality. This is going to stop, including and not limited to verbal and emotional captivity, which I experienced as well. I've been silenced on many occasions with men. I'm done. My book will be out and everything will be exposed. All of you predators are done. Let's just say, just because you're married to a minor doesn't put you in the clear." Huh? What? Let's just say, just because you're married to a minor doesn't put you in the clear? The single Stodden claimed her divorce was finalized in 2020. That just flew over my head. "Pedophiles and predators in Hollywood are done," Stodden tweeted. And it just jumped from there. Hold on. Sorry about that. As soon as I said that, I just totally lost the paragraph because it just jumped. Stodden tweeted, "I've been a victim for too long. I've been scared for too long. Mind control, assault, rape, confusion. I'm not holding back anymore. All of you predators are done," she warned in a tweet posted to her account. "I've been assaulted and silenced for too long, even in marriage. I'm done. My book will be out." Okay. Here's what I'm going to say about this. Black Sunrise, waking the masses off their asses. I was introduced to Peter Nygard's ex-girlfriend through a woman by the name of Magdala Cooper. And I was introduced to Magdala Cooper by my high school best friend, Matilda Morgan. Those of you who know my life will probably find this shocking and the history of what I've been through. I can agree with Courtney Stodden about the mind control because it's real. It's not fabricated and it's not made up. I was introduced to Ife Ike, a Nigerian-born Hollywood actress, and at the time she lived in the Hollywood Hills in California. And when she was in New York, she introduced me to her boyfriend, Peter Nygard. I will keep this short and succinct. All I can say is my experience from that left me with a bad taste and lots of questions around Peter Nygard, which I do not want to go into. Did he sexually assault me? No. Did he do something inappropriate? Yes. But I'm not going on record to say what it was. But after that experience, I knew, one, I looked at Ife in a very disturbing way. And after that, I refused to be around Peter Nygard. Prior to that happening, Ife wanted me to join them when they were going to Formula One. And I can't remember because this was so long ago, I think it was being held in Canada at the time. It was between 2005 and 2008. I think it was being held in Canada. I might be wrong, but I remember it was some Formula One. It could have been Canada, or I just can't remember, but around that time, it was a Formula One somewhere in the Western Hemisphere between 2005 and 2008. Okay, I can't exactly remember the year, and I refused to go. Ife also wanted me to get with Peter Nygard, and I blatantly and flatly told her I'm not doing it. And I noticed there was a change in attitude when I wouldn't. Here is what I will say, without calling anyone's names. I will say that reading the allegations and the things that Ife told me match up. Ife told me things that these young children are alleging happened. Ife told me this between I can't remember the year, between 2005 to 2008. And even more horrific things. And shocking things, actually. And some of the shocking things were, they all had to do with different sex acts for up and coming models. What was also shocking to me was Ife kept an album. She also kept pictures of girls on her phone, but she also had an album of girls. And when I tell you these girls were beautiful, they were like drop dead gorgeous. And she disclosed to me some of the sex acts that I don't know if they were forced to do or if they were willing participants. And I find it ironic that the reports coming out about Peter Nygard includes a database of women. And when I read that, I was shocked because I remembered Ify keeping albums of women. And what was interesting about Ify, like I said, I only met Nygard, I think was 3 times. The 3rd time I met him was the last time I met him. And what I can say is it was inappropriate, but he did not get to touch me. But after that, I knew this is not someone I want to be left alone with. And on many occasions, she asked me, hey, would you like to fly to the Bahamas with us? And in the back of my head, even though I was young, I was just like, okay, a private jet to an island outside the United States, and the only way off the island is a fucking private jet? I was like, in the back of my head, I was like, no way. Okay? Black Sunrise, waking the masses off their asses. I'm gonna disclose some of the things that Ify told me. Let me make something very clear. I am not saying that Peter Nygard did these things. I am saying this is what Ify told me. Her name is Ify Ike. And you can go look her up. She's somewhat of a celebrity and she's well known in Nollywood movies. And she no longer lives in California. From the last time I heard, she moved to Florida after returning from Nigeria. And I spoke to her like a couple years ago. And after that, I didn't speak to her again for good reason. Some of the things that Ify told me that I found that paralleled these allegations were, I'll tell you what happened. So Ify pulled out these albums and I was, we were talking and stuff like that. And, she would say, okay, you see this woman? And I'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, these girls are so pretty. And she was like, all of them want to be famous in Hollywood, whether it was modeling or whether it was movies or commercials or whatever. And Ify would tell me, this girl has sex with dogs. And XYZ would pay her to have sex with dogs. Then she would tell me this one would have sex with horses and donkeys. This one would eat feces. This one would do animal orgies and video and film it. This one would do sex with menstrual blood, the drinking of the menstrual blood. And I was like, Ify, what the hell? I was like, these are your friends? And they would get paid, from what she told me, they would get paid to do it. But again, I didn't meet any of the girls and I don't know if they were paid. What I do know is the album that she kept, which I found really strange. Like, why would you keep an album of a bunch of young women, in compromising sexual deviancy, and then try to get me to sleep with your ex-boyfriend? So these were some of the things in the back of my head. And she went on to tell me some other things which I'm not going to disclose online. So the 2 things I can say is this: Ify told me some things that I found very shocking and parallels what these children are saying in these lawsuits. I find that shocking. The second thing is these news articles are saying that he kept a database of over 7,000 women. And I found it really ironic because Effie kept albums of these women. None of the women Effie showed me were underage. That doesn't mean there weren't underage girls. What I'm saying is, what she showed me was they all, to me, looked like they were over the age of like 20 in the photo album she kept. I'm just sitting here shocked that I'm like, I dodged a damn bullet with this, because the 3 times I ever met Peter Nygard, she was very much insistent, like, oh, you know, he really likes you, you should get to know him. And I was just like, I am not down with having sex with your ex-boyfriend, so that's not gonna happen. All I can tell you is this: from what Effie showed me and what Effie told me, I'm surprised there's only 100 women that came out, because I think it's more like tens of thousands of women and possibly children. But I didn't see any children. That's the only thing I could say about that, right? So, guys, here's what I will say, okay? Things are not what it seems. Also, one of the major things that Effie, when she was showing me a lot of these women, these young women wanting to be Hollywood starlets or starlets in the commercial industry, this is just what she said to me, was many of them eat feces. Or many of them were defecated on or defecated on wealthy, powerful people with money, because it was a consistent theme in the books that she had. I wonder, as this news broke, I wonder, was Effie, because the article said that he would hire people to go out and find young women. And I look back now and I'm wondering, I'm like, was I one of those people on those lists? Because I was followed since I was 14 years old. Number 2, I'm wondering, I'm like, was she one of those people hired by him or someone else to recruit young girls? I don't know. So I'm just sitting here shocked, because I'm like, I'm reading these articles and then I remember the conversations I had with Effie. The last time I spoke to her was 2 years ago. We haven't spoken since, and I have no interest in communicating with Effie. And I guarantee you, if they hear this or they see this, they will spin this and lie and say all sorts of stupidness. But I'm standing by my story. I am standing by my story. I wonder if she was paid to go find young women to recruit. Because why would she have albums? I mean, and she knew who every girl was and every sexual act they performed. And I was just like, what the hell? You know, that's all I got to say about that.